I can hear the spirits speaking. They're saying, you're never gonna win the lottery. Oh man. Hi everyone, I am back today to discuss with you all another topic in regards to my novel, Shores of Chaos, Darkness Follows. So today I'm going to be speaking about spiritualism, which was a movement that was popular from the mid-19th century to the early 20th century, and it involved being able to communicate with spirits. In fact, it got so popular that for some people it became a religion unto itself.
This communication with the dead was made through mediums, people with the ability to communicate with spirits. Aside from direct communication, people would attempt to speak with the dead through talking boards, the same as our modern-day Ouija boards, and seances. During seances, an attendee might hear spirits speaking, be touched, or see furniture move. They might also see automatic writing, which is when a person unconsciously writes things out, often, it is believed, with spiritual guidance. Of course, these occurrences weren't always genuine, with popping sounds produced from cracking joints, and spirit voices amplified with the use of spirit trumpets, along with several other tricks that mediums would use.
Now, in my novel, I actually do include a scene of a seance because it's in the perfect time period for when spiritualism would have been popular. So without further ado, let's get into what spiritualism was all about. So the movement can trace its origins to 1848 in Hyattsville, New York, when two sisters named Maggie and Catherine Fox claimed that they were able to communicate with spirits inside their home. Whenever they would ask a question, the spirits could supposedly answer them through a series of taps and knocks. Eventually, they got so popular that they were showing audiences their skills as well as performing seances. Their popularity would later make others claim that they could communicate with spirits and that they were mediums. Now, in 1888, Maggie did actually confess that her and her sister made it all up, but by then it was too late. Spiritualism had become widely popular and it wasn't going to be slowing down anytime soon.
As for other famous mediums, there was Victoria Woodhull, who was the first woman to run for president of the United States. She was elected president of the American Association of Spiritualists and served as a medium to Cornelius Vanderbilt. Another was Hilma af Klint, an artist whose art was inspired by spirits, and she was part of a group of spiritualists called the Five.
Now, when the Fox sisters made their claims, the United States was kind of at a point where they were ready for a new spiritual movement. During this time, many people were starting to see heaven as this very comforting place where their loved ones would go. Likewise, during the same time, there were new fossils that were discovered, and the Earth's geological record was being studied, which really shook a lot of people's older spiritual beliefs. People also liked spiritualism because it provided people with proof that the spirit world was tangible, and people could practice it however they wanted to. Women also liked it because it gave them equality in a way. They could finally have a platform through spiritualism, and for some of them, they could even put their political beliefs out there and just blame it on the spirit. You know, that's what the spirit told me, it's not coming from me. So they can have their opinions without getting any of the backlash from it. Other mediums also used it for their own political agenda by claiming that they could communicate with disenfranchised and minority groups. Another reason spiritualism became so popular during this time is because there was just a lot of people dying. Child mortality rates at this time were very high, so a lot of parents used it as a way to speak with their dead children. Let's also not forget about the Civil War. So many people died in that war that a lot of people were using spiritualism as a way to communicate with their dead loved ones. It really helped them to get closure, especially if they had soldiers that were never brought home and they were never able to give them a proper burial. Families really looked to spiritualism to kind of just give them that sense that their loved ones were okay and that they didn't need to worry anymore and continue to be so grief-stricken. There would be a similar wave of popularity with spiritualism following World War I. Spiritualism's popularity was also aided by the famous people who took part in it. Mary Todd Lincoln, for one, who was the widow of Abraham Lincoln, held seances and contacted mediums. She even had spirit photographer William H. Mumler take a picture that supposedly captured the spirit of her dead husband. There were other famous people who took part in the movement as well. Queen Victoria, of course, as well as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Frederick Douglass. People also took advantage of new technologies with spiritualism as well. One of the most famous examples is spirit photography. Photographers would claim that they were able to capture spirit images as well as document seances and even ectoplasm, which they considered as evidence of a ghostly presence. In truth, the ectoplasm was probably just a piece of cheesecloth that they used in the images and then added some faces on it later. People also claim that they were able to capture spirits and communicate with them through telephone and radio, and some inventors even tried to make machines that could communicate with the dead. And of course, even though the movement had many believers, like today, there are also many skeptics. Perhaps one of the most famous was Harry Houdini, of course the Great Escape artist. He really came to dislike mediums and even claimed that they were insulting his own profession, which required actual skills to perform, and he thought the mediums were, well, let's just say that their performances were less than stellar, according to him. In 1922, he even joined forces with the magazine Scientific American when they held a contest to see if any mediums could prove that they could communicate with the dead. Along with doctors, scientists, and mathematicians, he was able to help debunk a lot of the claims from the mediums who participated in the contest, including the claims of Mina Crandon, who was very close to winning the prize. In 1926, he even participated in congressional hearings, where he showed congressmen the different tricks that mediums would use in an effort to get fortune-telling banned as a business practice. Houdini actually ended up facing backlash for this. A lot of people thought that not only was he encroaching on their First Amendment rights, but they just didn't want science and another person interfering with what they felt was their religion. Interestingly enough, Houdini died on Halloween in 1926, and his wife Bess continued to hold seances for the next 10 years in an attempt to contact him. Not really sure why she did that, given his feelings about it, but needless to say, Houdini never showed up. Some people today still hold seances to try to communicate with him, and as far as I know, he has stuck to his guns and he's not making an appearance anytime soon. So you might ask, why did so many people adhere to spiritualism? What was it about it that made it so popular? So psychologists today have tried to explain it. For one, they think that people, when they frame something as paranormal, they're not likely to look for other explanations. It's also possible that when people really want to believe that something is out there, they might be quick to hold on to a fact that a medium guesses that's correct, but then completely overlook an incorrect piece of information that a medium gives them. It also sometimes comes down to our senses. So remember, the seances would often be held in the dark, and when you're not seeing, your other senses tend to be heightened. Likewise, sometimes your body might make involuntary movements, which could really give the power of suggestion to what's going on around you. So, like if you've ever played with a Ouija board and your finger accidentally moves the planchette, you might not even realize that that was you doing it, and you might think it's a spirit. Same thing with back in the day. People might have thought that as well. I, for one, also believe that people just want something more than our mundane day-to-day life. So if they think that there is a possibility that something paranormal or supernatural exists, of course they're going to want to believe in it. I mean, especially if you're capable of that kind of power, who wouldn't want it? So, what's your thoughts on spiritualism? And will any of you be participating in a seance this Halloween? Let me know in the comments. Well, that is all for today. Please feel free to check out Shores of Chaos Darkness Follows. I will also have the link for the blog post that goes with this video in the description below. Hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.